Yeah, so I thought I'd make an update, a second video, because I filed a complaint against the DWP about what happened. Uh, Basically, what I said to them is that at no point the job coach should have told me from the get-go before he took me into the other room that it wasn't to chat with these other people wasn't compulsory or mandatory. It was voluntary, and the people from the European Social Fund should have said the same at the very beginning, and disclosed who they were, not take someone's personal data and that, and then the people thinking, well, hang on, what's all this about? And then tell them at the end of it. The real reason why they're doing that, and I know this to be true, is if the claimants were to go to the desk and be told that it was solely voluntary, whether you'd want to speak to them and hand your details over to them, and they were told what it was about and who they were, which was European Social Fund, I think most claimants would tell them that they're not interested or to jog on. And I think that's the reason why they're taking the backwards approach of doing it backwards, and then getting them to sign a contract at the end of it, which is like a disclosure, which then makes it legal for them to walk out of that Department of Works and Pensions office with the data, and it not being a data breach. So, yeah, I mean, every single point that I made to the person that I was making the complaint to agreed with every single thing that I said. And the reason why I know it's illegal is because I've already read up what is the Universal Credit Toolkit. It's their own behavioural standards and their guidelines. And within that anyway, there's actually a point in there about misleading claimants, and that was actually to do with when Universal Job Match was first created, because it was being run by a third party, which was monster.com. You could freely go on monster.com and access their site without actually making an account. And so they were tricking claimants into creating an account by means of deception. And because the job coaches were actually assisting the claimants in doing that, they were also tricking them to sign the box, which would then give them the job centre consent to actually spy on them and access the account whenever they wanted. And basically, within them guidelines, it clearly states in capital letters, because it's obviously been through a legal department, that they must not mislead the claimant and tell them that it's mandatory for them to do it. A number of job coaches did actually do it to me, and I put them right on it. But on that aspect of that that is actually part of what they're doing wrong by misleading the claimants. The other point is their standards of behaviour. I do not accept their standards of behaviour. There's actually a whole book, a whole brochure on their standards of behaviour, all to do with maladministration and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath on the complaint which I've made to them. I mean, it's a very serious complaint, but you have to do the procedure before you can take it to the next step, because if they don't do anything and they choose not to do anything, which I think they will, because they know they're breaking the law and what they're doing is illegal and unlawful, I will be taking it further. I will go to MP and that. I mean, they're deceptively gaining people's data, and they're doing that to they're taking away the claimant's freedom of choice, because they're not telling them whether it's mandatory or voluntary. They're just being duped into sitting somewhere, and they're thinking, well, hang on, what the hell's all this about? And the only reason why most claimants won't say nothing about it and stand up is through the culture of fear within the Department of Works and Pensions, where people will be afraid to say anything or stand up through the fear of losing their benefits or being sanctioned. So, you know, I'm not putting up with it. I mean, I ain't going to sit there knowing that I'm next in the line to have my freedoms, rights and liberties violated by someone. I think it's disgusting that they think that they can do that to people. Just because I'm going in the job centre, I'm still a human being and I have rights. And if anyone's trying to abuse them, then they're going to be held accountable for it. I mean, the best thing that can happen really is that these people get kicked out of the job centre. They shouldn't even be there. Like I said in my last video, the first time that I encountered them, they were just sat on the chairs in there, like in the waiting part, where you sit, where you're waiting to be seen by the job coach. They were just sat there, and I actually honestly thought they were actually waiting to see a job coach and sign on or something. And then they pull these European Union brochures out, and I'm like, I'm not interested, you know. I mean, like the points I raised before. No one's obligated legally or contractually to hand over any of your personal data to any third party. That's just the way it is. My only contractual obligation is to the Department of Works and Pensions to give them the information that they need or want. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for this one. The next video I'll make will basically be an update on whether they've upheld my complaint, which they should do. I mean, it's serious. It really is serious. I mean, if they were being honest and upfront from the start, then there would not be an issue, because in all fairness, most people would say they're not interested in giving these people their information. I mean, in all fairness, some of the questions that the woman that was part of this European Social Fund was asking, quite frankly, was none of their goddamn business. I mean, it was they were asking that lad private and personal information, which, you know, I mean, the Department of Works and Pensions ain't even bloody asking people them sort of questions. Do you know what I mean? And they're bloody nosy enough. So, yeah. So anyway, I'll leave this video here, and I'll do an update of what the outcome is, which I'm not holding my breath to. So I will be planning my next attack, which will be MP, doing it that way, and maybe the press.